Good afternoon, guys, and today is going to be an interesting one because today might be a full hour, but I'm going to spare you the whole 60-minute drudge. It's going to be broken into 25, 30-minute bites. But today, officially, USA Taekwondo announced a cooperation of sorts with the Amateur Athletic Union. As I spoke about in video or a couple of videos back about the relationship of USAT to the Pan American Taekwondo Union and to the World Taekwondo and to the International Olympic Committee. Something, and I want to quote a Mr. Mike Frello, and it's either going to be Frilo or Frello because it's spelled F-R-I-E-L-L-O. It could be A, it could be L. He's the National Sports Chair of the Amateur Athletic Union Taekwondo section. He said, and I quote, and you can go to the article on teamusa.org/USA Taekwondo features, and it's a headline that says AAU Taekwondo and USA Taekwondo strike a historic deal. He says, and remember now, this is a direct quote from the website from the National Sports Chair of the Amateur Athletic Union AAU Taekwondo, Mike Flo. He says, this agreement between USA Taekwondo and AAU Taekwondo shall go down as a truly historic event undertaking for both organizations for the first time in 3 decades. 3 decades. 1 decade is 10 years. 3 decades is 30 years, okay? First time in 3 decades, AAU Taekwondo is being recognized as a key grassroots, and that's a big word. It's a small word with a big meaning. Grassroots program for Taekwondo in the United States of America. This is an I told you so moment, people. As I stated in earlier videos, and I said this very point blank and very straightforwardly, the AAU is a grassroots organization that has their own state and national tournaments that are outside of both USAT and any type of state game of America. And as the director said, it's been, at least to his knowledge, 30 years have been longer than that because the AAU lost any type of connection with getting you towards the Olympics back in 1978 with the Amateur Sports Act. So, the reason why this is such breaking news is because when you read the entire article, and I won't sit here and read the entire article, it addresses an issue that I've skimmed over a few videos back about abuse allegations. Now it can be said out loud. A lot of the problems that came up through AAU. Because USA Taekwondo, for a long time, had coaches that were part of the AAU that basically, from what I was watching, observing, were always trying to sabotage efforts of USA Taekwondo in some hopes that that'll put AAU back, and it's not. Federal law in the United States is not on the side of AAU. That's just period, point blank, it's not. And because so many individuals were abused both physically and sexually, it's very unfortunate it took that to finally wake up and go, okay, listen carefully, we need to get back on the range with this and say, listen, if we're going to start winning gold medals, if we're going to start being able to compete internationally, we got to get a grip. By finally recognizing and saying out loud and putting out there in public that the AAU is a grassroots organization, you clear up a lot of misconceptions and false information put out there. People who are loyal to the AAU, that's fine. I didn't come up through the AAU. So you may ask, did you come up through the? No, I didn't come up through the AAU. As an adult, from time to time, well, yeah, young adults, from time to time, I would sometimes coach and referee at various events, but I didn't come up through the AAU. Like I said earlier, when I first started, I was always Korean Taekwondo Union, World Taekwondo Federation. Always. That's what I know. That's the situation I came up in. I didn't come up through the AAU. Now, I used to participate in some open events every once in a while, and I emphasize stress every once in a while, because once again, even with this situation going on, you have to remember something about AAU. AAU is cliquish as hell. What's going on in Southeast will not be going on what's in the South. What's going on in, say, Georgia or Florida or any other states or any other regions, it's on case-by-case individual. And I want to make a note right quick that I want everyone to pay attention to. This past U.S. Open and this past team trials, I'm going to talk about the U.S. Open first and foremost. One thing I saw that mirrored kind of what happened to Detroit last year, you had a ocean wave of people out of the blue that were AAU that were participating in the U.S. Open. That's something that you have to pay very close attention to, because now it's blatantly saying, no, this is a USA Taekwondo event. It is not an AAU event. It's being said directly and very openly, you have to participate in a USAT sanctioned state championship to qualify for U.S. Nationals. These are some things that were understood but weren't really being said out loud. This agreement, which is part of getting, I guess, a better lead on when allegations of misconduct or abuse, because the sexual conduct part is what everyone focuses on. Excuse me. But the physical abuse and beatings is another one that no one has, sat down and realized it's just as important as any of the sexual abuse allegations. It's just as important, and it's not an either or. Sexual abuse is wrong, physical abuse is wrong. Some of the cases of physical abuse, horrible. Broken ankles, dislocated knees, broken arms, black eyes, gashes just all kind of crazy stuff. Torn Achilles tendons, torn hamstrings, all kind of stuff. This is one of those where I interject those, I'm waiting to see what good comes out of it. I'm waiting to see what happens. Like everyone else, I'm waiting to see where is this going to go now that the battle lines have been drawn. As I said in the hierarchy, once you hit USAT, it's everybody else. AAU is one of those everybody else's. Whether it's AAU, whether it be some ITF spinoff, whether it be some other sports management, sports marketing organization. USA Taekwondo is part of the United States Olympic Committee. It's one of the organizations, one of those, if you watch Real Sports with Brian Gumbo, they mention it's like 48, 47 individual sports organizations under U.S. Olympic Committee, under USO, U.S. Olympic Committee. USAT is one of them. That word grassroots, I want you to remember it. Because what I hope to see going forward is more clearer distinctions and more clear language being used. Because as I said, and we can go back to 2017, well, 2016 and 2017 really, parents who pay those fees, and I mentioned them in a couple of videos back, and go back and rewatch if you want to. And speaking of which, if you get a chance, go check out some of my other videos. Go through the channel and see if there's any other videos you might like or might want to binge watch or anything like that. Just a suggestion. As I was saying, get back on track. Sorry about that. You had parents and people that thought, well, I participated in a state championship. The other shoe I'm waiting to drop is when the National Congress of State Games makes their announcement explaining their state game system. Because as it stands right now, as far as some of your bigger, kind of more well-known grassroots or entry-level tournaments, besides whatever tournament your school or academy might have, you have the National Congress of State Games, which has a national championship every 2 years. So they won't have one this year, but they'll probably have one in 2019. Yeah, they are having one in 2019. I got to look it up and see where it's going to be, and I'll do that now in a few minutes. If you hear me clicking, that's what I'll be doing to see when the National Congress of State Games are going to have their national championship. Remember, USA Taekwondo, as of right now, 2018 going forward, they have national championships every year, usually, and I say usually, starting around the 4th of July. That's when they usually have their state championships, around the 4th of July. With this in black and white, where people, anyone who wants to read it, can see, that term grassroots, you have to remember, is very important and very key. It's grassroots, grassroots is going to be a starting point. Okay? National Congress State Games of America, their next national is going to be 2019 in Virginia. USA Taekwondo, USA TKD, as it's been rebranding. Our next nationals is going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah this year. And I have no idea when AAU is going to have theirs. But they're going to have one sometime this year. Because I'm not mistaken, I think AAU has yearly national championships also. So now you have 3 different nationals, 3 different state championships. And as I mentioned before, none of those are free. And that's not including travel, whether you fly or you drive your own car there, lodging, and your nutrition. So it's sad that it took lawsuits and black eyes from harsh allegations to finally start realizing that if the AAU has the, quote, prerogative or option, or doesn't have to follow the rules of the World Taekwondo Federation, how can you claim to be preparing your participants for higher levels of competition if you don't prepare them for higher levels of competition? It's just as simply put. The World Taekwondo Federation, as far as Olympics goes, is the highest level. And if you look at what happened, I've mentioned it again, that's why I'm glad. I was so glad to see the number of people who went to go view some of the Grand Prix and World Championship footage, wrote comments and said, yeah, he did lose. He did basically give away 15 points. That's how he lost, or that's how she lost. If you are trying to go to the next level, let me give you equivalency. Let's say you play football, basketball, or you run track, okay? If you run track and you're not in high school yet, so you're junior high, middle school, whatever, you may participate in a state track meet or state games or something sponsored by AAU or other organizations. That's at the first level, the grassroots level, which means you're training, this is what you want to do. But let's say you want to run track, a 10K or something for your high school. Okay, that high school level is another level. Okay, let's just say you want to follow up and run track in junior college or college. Okay, now you've stepped up to another level. Let's say you want to represent the United States in the Olympics as a track star. Once again, you've went up another level. Now for the United States, you have to remember we have the United States Track and Field Association, and we have the NCAA. I'll let you sit on that for a second. We have the NCAA also. So if you're track and field, you have high school track and field meets. Then you have the NCAA, where you're in college or junior college, which would be Division I, Division II, JUCO, that's short for junior college. Then you have your once every 4 year, once in a lifetime opportunity for Olympics, and you have world championships. People don't understand or don't know that world championships are yearly. World championships, you find it strange that the 34, 35-year-old, was it Justin Gatlin. He's 30-something years old and still one of the fastest men in the United States in the 50. You know who he finally won a victory over? Usain Bolt. Wrap your head around the fact one of the fastest men in the United States is competing in track and field is Justin Gatlin, and he is 33, 34 years old. Think about that. And he's running sub 10-second 100-yard dashes and still coming in silver in some world championships. Now, as far as Taekwondo is concerned, now we recognize a clearer path. If you want to participate in AAU events, go ahead. You want to participate in state game events? Go ahead. You want to participate in USA Taekwondo events? By all means. But understand you're dealing with 3 different organizations, 3 different situations, and the only one that may clearly affect, at least coming into the future year, starting 2018 forward, is going to be USAT. I know no one wants to hear that. That's shooting in the foot any sports marketing scheme that you guys have going on or doing, but here's the facts. It's already been established. It's already been said several times by USAT that even though 2020 is a little too close right now, 2024 and 2028, they're looking to become a more dominant force. By the time the Olympics come back to Los Angeles, they want the United States to win some gold medals in their own backyard at home. What's making 2020, at least in my observation, let's pay close attention to what's going on, for lack of a better term, is because, as I said before, sport karate is making its debut for the first time ever in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. For anyone who's done any homework on the Olympics, it is not uncommon to have a one-hit wonder as far as Olympic events goes. It is not a stretch at all to be in a situation where you have an event happen once in the Olympics and you never see it again. I'm going to give you one that's fairly recent that I want everyone to pay attention to, and when you get a chance, go do your homework and go look at it. You ready? Find out who medaled in wushu or kung fu in the Beijing Olympics. Then tell me who won a gold medal or silver medal or any kind of medal after the Beijing Olympics in wushu or kung fu. As I sit here now, I bet you me saying this is the first time anyone's ever heard anyone say, you know, wushu was actually an Olympic sport, right? And you know, there are some people who made history because those individuals medaled in kung fu. And I would like to know who medaled in kung fu after them. And it's not hard. You can cheat. You can cheat. You can go to Wikipedia. You can go to the International Olympic website. By all means. But what I ask you to do is tell me who medaled in wushu, and then who medaled after them. Okay? Find it out, because wushu was an Olympic, well, demonstration Olympic event at Beijing. See what I'm saying? See when they talk about misinformation and information? It's not hard. Find out for yourself. Read. These different, read about these different sports and everything yourself. There's no law saying you can't do it. So take a few minutes out, read the information yourself. And that'll be part of your homework for the day. Find out who medaled in wushu in Beijing. Okay. Now, I'm going to touch one or two little points as I try to wind down here. I'm trying to get under the 25-minute mark. I probably won't, but I'm going to have a part 2 to this one, because I want to continue to talk about this announcement from AAU that went public today. I also want to touch on some more things as far as tournaments, tournament prep, and being happy that finally, there is some clarification on what's going on. Because as I said, 40 years ago, you have to go back to 1978. That's the Amateur Athletes Act of 1978. And then 20-something years later, if not more, the Ted Stevens Amendment, which redefined amateurism. Because here in the United States, if you know your history, with men's basketball, when the United States fell to Russia, that was the last time a college student represented the United States in basketball. At that point, they wanted you to be a professional basketball player. And a lot of people don't remember the controversy with Shaquille O'Neal and Christian Laettner, where Shaq could have been on the dream team. But they said because Shaq didn't complete college, he couldn't be on that next generation dream team, so his position was taken by Christian Laettner. Even till today, that still resonates, because Shaquille O'Neal with NBA titles in Boston, NBA titles in Miami, NBA titles in Los Angeles, one of the most dominating, and I emphasize stress, one of the most dominating centers in the game, wasn't allowed to be on the dream team, at least that time, because he didn't finish college. He went back and got his degree, but he went from college, went from LSU directly to the league. Think about that. I am glad that there are some battle lines being drawn and there is some clarification being made on the roles of certain organizations. I'm glad that finally, and I emphasize and stress to you, finally, publicly, some things that a lot of us who participate in these different sports and tournaments know. And we know because we're there. We ask the qualifying question, okay, what happened here, what happened there, what happened here, what happened there? You sit here and go, well, the truth of the matter is, boom. You follow what I'm saying? The truth of the matter is, boom, here's what's going on. So remember what I said about making sure you yourself understand what you're getting into, what you're going to have to do, what it's going to cost you. Because more oftentimes than not, that what it's going to cost you, very few people know and understand that there is a cost. It's not free. No one's flying you all across the world or getting your passport ready out of the kindness of their hearts. It's just not happening. I say again, this is one of those I'm gonna wait and see deals. I'm looking forward to see what comes out of this situation with the AAU in Taekwondo cooperating, and AAU understanding that, yes, if you're going to send athletes or claim to send athletes to the Olympics, you don't have the luxury of ignoring the World Taekwondo Federation of Kukiwan. Because as I said, and I'll say it again, the World Taekwondo Association Kukiwan is a very dynamic and ever-changing presence, because they want to stay competitive, and their goal, as I said, is to keep Taekwondo in the Olympics as long as there is an Olympics. Don't take that for granted. Don't forget that. This is going to wrap up part 1, because I got a lot to say in part 2. This is going to wrap up part 1. If you like the video, click like. Please remember to subscribe. Thank you for donating. For everyone who's donating, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Please continue to donate. Yeah, like the video if you like it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys a lot. See you in a few minutes.